Hidden and center lines are frequently used on multi-view drawings to show things that are not actually visible in the current view. Hidden lines, which are represented by the dashed line that you see here on the top, closer to the top of the screen, are used to represent features that can't be seen. Center lines, on the other hand, represent symmetry. So they're used to mark the center of circles and the axis of cylinders, and really the axes of anything that is symmetrical. So here's an example of a drawing where we have both the isometric and the multi-view drawing. You'll see that we've already drawn the top, front, and right-hand side views, and center lines have also been placed in where they belong. So for the circle view here, for our top view, you'll notice there are two center lines that cross each other. This shows that there's symmetry both across this plane and across this plane. That's done for when we have circles. It's also really important to note that the center lines extend just a bit past the visible lines. The visible lines are those dark lines that we've been drawing up until now. Now there's also a center line that extends all the way out here. That comes from this bolt hole that we see right here. This hole that's drilled through the side. So that shows us that there is symmetry, that is a circular hole as well. Again, notice that it extends past the outside of the visible line. Looking on my front face, I see the symmetry line from this hole that's drilled down through the top, as well as from the hole that's in the side here. This time these two do not intersect like they do in the top view because it's not a circle on this view. It's also really important to note what a center line looks like. It's one long line, one short line, and one long line. On my right-hand side here, I have two center lines that cross, making a plus in the middle of my hole, showing that it is a circle, showing that symmetry. Let's add in some hidden lines next. Here's our hidden lines. On the top view, the hole is hidden from us. So there are small dashed lines drawn here to represent that hole. On the top here, these dashed lines show us what the two holes really on the inside look like. Same thing on this front view. Now, we would have to know some more information other than this isometric that's given to us to know that this hole goes all the way through to the bottom and this hole only goes part of the way through. So those are some things information that would probably be given to you in addition to just the isometric drawing. When you are doing these multi-view drawings, there is an order for what lines are more important than others. Really, this is used if two lines happen to fall directly on top of each other. So the most important lines are visible lines. Those are the nice, thick, solid ones that we've been drawing up until now. Extremely important, right? Next comes hidden lines. So if a hidden line happens to be in the same place as a center line, you would just draw the hidden line. Center lines are kind of the least important of the three. Let's look at a drawing that contains all three, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by some of this precedence. So here's our part. This is the isometric, and then our multi-view shown over here. So looking at this top view, you'll see that these are some visible lines. That would be these lines actually right here that would be visible from the top view. And right beneath that would actually be some hidden lines showing that it's cut away from this circle right here. Well, because there are visible lines there, those take precedence over the hidden lines. So those are the ones that we draw. Another option where there would be visible lines taking the most preference is on this right-hand view. On the right-hand view, we would see the cutout line coming from this little cutout right here, and that would happen to fall right on top of the center line from this circle. So we draw the visible line, so it's a nice solid line. However, in this case, we can tell there's also a center line there because the center line extends past the object. One other example of lines taking precedence would be in this top view, where we have a hidden line coming from this cutout right here, and that would be located in the exact same location as the center line from this hole. So we draw the hidden line, but we still have the center line extended past the edges. So I can tell that there really is a center line there as well. One last thing to point out with that fact that the center line extends past the edge is when you have a center line that is hidden beneath a hidden line, there you should leave a space, just like you see right here. Otherwise, no space is left, like on this one right here. There's also a set of rules for when two lines intersect each other. Now, we really don't see all of these too commonly, but there are some that we see rather commonly. Where we have a hidden line matching up with a visible line, you should never leave a space. So it is correct to not leave a space, incorrect to leave a space. If you ever have a angle in there, go ahead and join your corners. If you have a hidden line meeting up with a 90-degree angle from a visible line, we do leave a space in that case. Again, really B, D, and E are all almost the same thing, showing that we should really connect those lines. If we have an arc, you should start that arc on the center line. And really, the last two are also two that we see rather frequently. So A, G, and H are more common than others. G, you should never intersect a solid line, so leave a gap there. And H, if you have two hidden lines that are intersecting, that cross over each other, really, do not make an intersection with them. That, of course, is different than if you have center lines. Okay, let's go ahead and practice. So here's our example. We're going to draw the multi-view of this. Just as in your homework, you're also going to have to sketch the isometric. It would be good practice for you to pause this and try sketching the isometric right now. But we're only going to focus on the multi-view just to keep this video on the shorter side. Just as we've done before, we're going to start out by tracing, and I'm going to pick the front, right, and top sides. This time, I'm going to choose this side as the front. Looking from this side will be the right-hand view, and then looking down on this will be the top view. My right-hand view would be 4 high. My right-hand view would be, my front view rather, would be 6 wide. I can tell that's 6 really just from looking at this top here. Here's 2, and then it's 4 more spaces till we get to this corner, which is just there to aid us in looking at the original dimensions. This kind of lip that sticks out right here is 1 block high. My top portion goes 2 blocks over, and then it goes down 3 blocks, and then we connect over. Notice that from this front view, there's no information that I can gather about the fact that this is curved. It really would just look like an L shape. I'm going to go ahead and draw the visible lines first, and then I'll go back in and add in the hidden lines. So there's my front face. My right-hand view would look like a square, a 4 by 4 square as a matter of fact. on that circle, or on that box rather, we would have this circle appearing as an actual circle. You'll notice the center of this is 1.5 blocks down. So the center would be right about here. And it has a radius of 1/2 block. In other words, my circle looks something like this. Now, when we do multi-view, there's no special way for drawing circles. Circles are not ellipses as they are when we have isometric drawings. I would also be able to see this crease right here if I were looking at it from this right-hand view. So I'm going to add that crease in. Looking at my top view, remember the top view is drawn right above your front face, and my top view is where I'd be able to tell that this is kind of a circular shape on the portion over here. So I'd see this nice rectangle for starters, and then if I really look at this, it looks like I have 2 blocks of straight and then it starts the curve. So I'm going to do 2 straight blocks here and 2 straight blocks here. And then our curve has a radius of 2 blocks. So it looks something like that. Now, I highly suggest, if you haven't been doing this along the way, that your visible lines, you make those nice and dark and thick before you put in any hidden or center lines. Now, from my top view, I'd also see this circle right here. Notice that circle is centered around an intersection that is right smack dab at the middle right here, and it has a radius of 1/2 block. So my circle looks something like that. Okay. Next, we're going to go ahead and add in some hidden lines, and I'm going to scooch this around a little bit so that we can zoom in so that you can definitely see these hidden lines. Okay, so I'm going to start with this front face. In this front face, both of my circles are hidden from view. Thinking about the circle that's here, it would, the center of that circle goes along with these little dotted lines right here, and I can see the radius is 1/2 block. So I'm going to sketch in my hidden lines right there. Now I'm going to make my hidden lines a little darker so that you can see them on this video, but traditionally hidden lines are pretty light. Okay, now there's also hidden lines for this hole right here, and those hidden lines match up with some of these dots here. Again, remember, hidden lines are dashed lines. So just like that. Now on this view, I can also put in some center lines. Center lines would show the symmetry for these holes. So they extend a little bit past the object. There's a little dash in the middle, long line there. Same thing over here, long line, dash in the middle, long line. Okay, we're now done with our front view. Let's go ahead and look at the right side view. I have a circle here, and anytime you have a circle, you definitely need center lines, showing that there is symmetry and it is a perfect circle. So when you're doing center lines for a circle, you put a little plus in the middle, and then you have 4 lines extending outward that extend past that visible line boundary. There's also a hidden hole that would appear on the small part here. That hole is centered in this section, and it has a diameter of 1/2 block. So that means the hidden lines would look something like that. And it also has a center line, long, short, long, right through the middle there. Finally, looking at this face up here, I see that there's a circle, so I'm going to go ahead and add in my center lines for that circle. And then I also have something hidden from view. In this portion, we know that there's a hole. And so once again, my hidden lines are my dashed lines here. And I also need a center line that would go through the middle of that hole. Long dash, long, short, long. So I now actually have a complete multi-view drawing. All multi-view drawings that you do from now on should contain hidden and center lines when appropriate.